Hello guys, welcome to my first video on YouTube. This is a Khazan build video for the spear. About me, I am Miguel, I'm turning 27 years old. I enjoy playing Souls games. I platinumed every Souls game except Sekiro. I'm currently in Sekiro almost platinum as well. So I would call myself a little bit of a Souls player and veteran. And I saw many build videos regarding the spear for New Game Plus Plus, endgame builds that I think are not as strong as this one, and for that reason I decided to make a build video for it. It's my first video, so I really hope you enjoy it, but I don't want it to keep you waiting so long, so let's just get into the good stuff. So I will first talk about the gear. The most important part of this build is the 6-piece bonus of Moonlight Awakening, which I will get into later. This is part of the golden set bonus, and we really want to have the skill activated, which I will explain later why this is the case. So I will first go over the set bonuses that this 6-piece provide. It increases or it decreases our dodge stamina cost by 15%. It increases our rear assault stamina damage by 10% and increases trance by 20%. It increases the rear assault damage by 10%, and lastly, the most important aspect is that we learn the skill Moonlight Awakening. Why this is important, as I said, I will get into later. Just for understanding why this build is so potent, Trance is the best skill for the spear, without a doubt. It's very consistent, very high damage, and this set is just the best set for Trance, which makes it the strongest set for the game, for the spear. As you can see, 20% damage increase to trance is is a lot, and this build focuses on dealing huge amounts of stamina damage, as well as really you can continuously spam swift attack into trance, which I will show you later. And if you don't know, the spear is all about stamina damage. It's the weapon with the highest stamina damage, and ideally we want to be behind the enemy, which is the reason why Moonlight Awakening is so strong, because we deal 50% more damage to an enemy when we hit him from behind by default, without any other boosts that boost it. And this whole set will make it so that we deal even more damage from behind and even more stamina damage. So we break the stance of an enemy very quick, we deal huge amounts of damage, and can then deal a brutal attack that also deals a lot of damage. And this is a build guide for New Game Plus Plus, so I think you know already that in New Game Plus you gain 1 fixed attribute more, and in New Game Plus Plus you get 2 fixed attributes more. So I would also now go over why this build is also so good, because what you will do with this build is you will brink dodge, or you will try to brink dodge enemy attacks, so that you gain a consistent buff, which also is the reason for it. I will get into it. And what we do then is we perform a lot of swift attacks and trance in a rotation, and basically go behind the enemy and in front of the enemy, and then again behind and in front, and you will see how that looks later. I will demonstrate it first on a dummy and then on the boss itself. So for the fixed attributes with the golden set, you get 0.25 fury accumulation when brink dodging, which is good because we want to have a lot of fury so that we can continuously spam trance. Swift attack damage increase 10%, which is a lot, and as I said, you will constantly only do swift attacks and trance. So for the random attributes, you can choose what you pretty much not what you like, I would recommend going with damage multipliers and damage increase, or stamina damage increase. So if you go enraged or if you go composed, or in case you don't know, enraged is when you're below 50% stamina, composed is when you are above 50% stamina. So this is a good buff because we will spending a lot of stamina, and we have both in this build, but for the random attributes you could also go for something else. You don't have to go for enrage. I think it might be even better if you go for stamina damage increase, or for damage increase, or for unscathed is also a very good random attribute to have, that when you're at full health you deal more damage, for example. But you basically want stuff like that. And in case you didn't notice, I'm level 350, so it's the max level, and the gear I have is also all 349 except the jar, because it's very hard to level the jar. But I think in the next few days I will also hit level 349 on the jar, and you also want to be level 350 because the items scale with the level. So the higher the level, and level 350 is max, so you can't go further than that. The higher the level, the better it is, because the gear gets better, and also the attributes that you roll on them are higher. And so let's go over the rest of the attributes before I go into stats specifically again. So here we have fixed attributes of the jar is that you get 10 extra proficiency, which brings us to 109 proficiency. Proficiency is the main damage stat for the spear. Willpower is the secondary damage stat for the spear. So ideally you want to have both maxed out and 10 extra in proficiency. And the reason why this is so important to have the jar is because it decreases the set requirement by 1, and this also includes accessories like ring and necklace, and so that you can have a 2-piece set bonus, which normally would not be possible. So I will go into the accessories after the armor and stuff. For the armor, we can see we have again fixed attributes of rear assault stamina damage and dodge stamina cost decrease. Ideally, you want to have as random attributes max health, max stamina, and defense, because you can only roll defensive attributes on pants and on the chest. So it's good to have more max health and more defense, because enemies hit quite hard in New Game Plus Plus. But yeah. So for the jar, I had stamina damage increase, max health, and damage increase to just deal even more damage, more stamina damage, etc. For the fixed attributes on the gauntlets, you can see we gain even more swift attack stamina damage and even more trance damage. For the attributes, I chose max stamina, more brutal attack damage, and more stamina damage increase again, because we will constantly just break the stance of the enemy quicker and deal more damage when they are exhausted. Then let's go to the pants. For the pants, we can see the fixed attributes are rear assault stamina damage, again 5%, dodge stamina cost decrease 5%, and for the random attributes I went for received damage decrease, almost 10%, more max stamina, and dodge stamina cost decrease. Ideally with the spear you want to dodge, prefer dodging over brink guarding, because we will get a damage buff that has to do with our phantom, which I will show later which phantom to choose. For the fixed attributes on the boots, we have again more swift attack stamina damage and more trance damage. For the accessories, I chose the necklace of charity, because when brink dodging we gain even more stamina damage for 10 seconds. And for the fixed attributes, we have here max stamina more max stamina, which is very good for the spear also, because you want to spam as long as you can, and having a lot of stamina really helps to just continuously spam your combo. Composed means when having above 50% stamina, so we have a lot of stamina, so this will be up a lot of the time, and the time that it's not up, we will get the damage increase from the enrage random attribute on our weapon. For the ring, I chose the cutthroat ring. In my opinion, this is a must-have because it increases the rear assault damage by 20%. When you hit an enemy from behind, you deal 20% more damage, which we will do a lot because this build consists of going behind the enemy, hitting him, and you deal just tons of damage this way. For the fixed attributes, we have here dodge stamina cost decrease again, and rear assault stamina damage increase also again. For the random attributes, I went with unscathed, so when you're at full health, you deal more attack damage. I went with defense also, and with 11.2% damage increase. So what this does is, I can show you the status. It puts us, as you see on the additional stats, we have 64.1%, sorry, more stamina damage, which is the most important part here by far. And on the right, you can see we have a damage multiplier of 25.8%, and a damage increase of 34.2%. And for trance, we have 30% increase. For swift attack, we have 10% damage increase, 10% stamina damage increase. We deal more damage when brutal attacking. So since we are breaking the stance very quickly of the enemy, we will deal huge amounts of damage when brutal attacking the enemy, especially when from behind. It goes up into the 250k damage numbers. For stamina, we have when below 50%, we gain a damage multiplier of 12.5% and damage increase of 14.4%. And for the composed damage, we get 5% more when above 50% stamina. So attack direction means when we are hitting from behind, as you can see, we deal 25% more stamina damage in total and 30% more damage increase. And we have unscathed. This is just when you are at full health. It's also good to have, in my opinion. And yeah. So why do we choose this stat distribution at level 350? The most important part is maxing out proficiency and willpower, because it's our main damage stats that the spear scales with. After that, I recommend you to max out endurance so that we have the most stamina that is possible, so that we can just continuously attack the enemy without thinking of our stamina. Also, we can perform a lot of dodges to reposition ourselves and be in safety. And also the dodge stamina cost is lowered by 101%. And it gets lowered even more because of our phantom, which I will show right now after explaining this. So why do we want to have 27 points in strength and 75 into vitality? The reason for it is agility. To have agility at an A rating, we must be below 60% weight capacity, which is possible when investing when having 27 points in strength and 75 in vitality, and that brings us to an A rating, which then results in having more iframes as well as reduced stamina costs when performing actions, so when dodging, attacking, etc. Okay, so now that we went over the stats and over our gear, I want to show you the phantom that I chose and that I think is the best for this. And it's Conrad the Swift. The reason for it is not necessarily the dodge stamina cost decrease, although it's good to have.